I've been in this list before where I make notes of funny things I think we could chat about for cold opens.
Must be a short list.
It is actually. But one of them I've noted down is awake me and asleep me, and that's all it says. What does that mean?
Was going to go horribly off topic again.
Go for it. Let's find out when I say something, let's find out where it can take you that has nothing to do with awake me and asleep me.
Last night, after me and Dave went to Tesco's.
Yeah.
I got busted up on some shroom gummies last night.
Love it. You love it.
Me and Dave took a big walk out to Tesco because Dave had decided he wanted Pepsi Max, and we were in Tesco. I was like, let's leave our phones at home because then we'll be out, like, just me and Dave.
Awful idea.
I was like, I'm too strapped to the phone. I'm leaving it at home. I'm going to go walk, high as shit. It's going to be great. So we went, a big walk to Tesco, got into Tesco, and two things happened I'm going to tell you that you'll find funny. First thing was I was like, after this 3 hour walk, no, I think it was an hour and a half walk.
But it felt like 3 hours.
Felt like 3 hours. I was like, I got to go to the toilet. Dave was like, what are you going to do? And I was like, I'm going to go to the toilet. But he's like, well, enjoy that. And I was like, yeah. And then I walked in, sat down, Tesco toilet, so you can imagine.
It's mad how often I try to steer this podcast away from you talking about shitting and farting and burping.
You like the story.
And everything in your life leads back to the toilet.
It's funny. I was sitting there in the Tesco toilet, rancid.
Because you'd been in there, or because...
No, it's just a Tesco toilet. They're just... I mean, Christ, they're notoriously not... like, it's a public toilet for one. So the standing of a public toilet is already pretty low. Tesco public toilet.
When it comes to public toilets and supermarkets, how would you rank the different supermarkets?
I think Morrison's is up there.
They're number one for
Morrison's
you?
up there. Morrison's got good toilets.
Okay.
Sainsbury's, Tesco's pretty low. Anyway.
What about Asda?
Asda's the bottom.
Yeah, I just want to make sure that you put Asda at the bottom.
I'm like sitting there, no phone, high off my tits, in a horrible toilet because it's a Tesco public toilet. And on the back of the door is a sign that's like, you should check your poo for blood just in case you have bowel cancer. So now I'm like...
What are you going to do?
Now I'm sitting there and I'm like, don't have my phone. So I'm just raw dogging this shit. And I'm like... Oh no. And I'm high reading the sign and I'm like, oh, God, I guess I better check gotta check my wipes. So I'm sitting in the toilet, high, look, the whole place is like breathing. And I'm like, I can't even tell if it's red. like the colors are so fucking crazy. I'm just looking at this wipe and I'm like, ah.
2, 3, 4. The Meandering Movie Podcast, airing through your ears. Gavin brings the brains and laughs and edits through the tears. And Gary's got the chaos and the taste that's razor sharp. Together they're in double acts, a podcast work of art. From deep dives to wild rides, no film is left unturned. Gavin tries to keep the structure tight while Gary lets it burn. One's the calm, the other's storm. Listening if you dare. When they talk, you'll laugh so hard. You'll get for some air. The Meandering Movie Podcast. Yeah!
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Meandering Movie Podcast. I'm 1,000 Cold Opens, Gary Copeland.
I'm the Tic Tac lost between the cushions, Gavin.
Speaking of, why did you have so many Tic Tacs in the other room?
I just bought
A multitude of Tic Tacs.
Here's the thing. We're circling back to supermarkets again, just like we hopefully talked about in the cold open. If I put that as, I don't know, we'll find out what cold open I used. Because 1,000 Man over here gave me 1,000.
I thought I was editing this episode.
Well, we'll find out when when one of us is watching it back. You can't get fucking Tic Tacs anywhere. And I'm a Tic Tac guy. I like a Tic Tac.
Tic Tacs are terrible.
No, and the Tic Tacs are great because they're compact and transportable. I don't like chewing gum because I hate the sensation of chewing something that after 3 bites just is bland gum in your mouth, and it just makes your stomach all like gurgly and stuff. And then a Polo it's not bad. I don't mind a Polo, but a Tic Tac is just gets the job done and it doesn't take up a space.
I hate anything minty that is also sugary. If I want to have fresh breath, here's a pro tip from the Meandering Movie Podcast. 2 pro tips. I'm going to give you double, back to back.
Wow.
If you've got bad breath, if you're out and about and you realize, oh, my breath's a little bit bad, or you've got fuzzy teeth, either one. First one would be to go into a bar and ask for a mojito. Make sure it's a good bar. Then chew.
What an expensive way to solve your issue.
The mint leaves on top of the mojito. Well, you get a cool mojito out
This
of
is
it as well.
a terrible idea.
It's better than a Tic Tac. Tic Tacs are too
Are
sugary.
you insane?
They're too sugary. You're just making the
So
problem
your
worse.
solution is, instead of buying a pack of mints that I can put in my pocket and I can pop one in when I need
They're
it,
too sugary.
I need to go to a bar and spend between 8 to 12 pounds on one mojito so I can solve my breath issue?
Yes.
What if I'm like in a rush to get somewhere? What if I'm going for an interview or something?
Mojito is definitely the better choice. And if not, second tip,
Well,
eat an apple.
okay, see, that's a better idea.
Apples are nature's toothbrush.
Apple's a much better idea.
And that's a genuine thing. If you eat an apple a day, keep the doctor away. It's because they genuinely help your mouth.
You didn't start with apple. You started with go to a bar and buy a mojito.
And eat the mint leaves. To be honest, it's just
So you don't even drink the
You
mojito?
can drink the drink. If you're getting a mojito, you might as well drink the drink. But the mint leaves on top are the important bit of the mojito. This is how I know you don't listen to me, because I actually already said this and you just locked in on the fucking mojito part and you didn't even let me listen. You didn't even listen to me finish the sentence.
See, if you're feeling tired and you're out and about, go to a bar and get an espresso martini. Drink it up. You'll get all the caffeine you need.
Not a bad shout.
It is a bad shout.
That's a great shout.
You can buy a coffee for £4 and an espresso martini will be like 14.
Yeah, but the espresso martini's much like you'll be ready.
Okay, but here in Scotland,
You'll be like, ooh.
licensing laws, you can't buy alcohol before 10 a.m. What do you do before 10 a.m. if you can't get a mojito?
Apple. I just said that.
Okay, thank you for bringing us back to
There you go.
your idea or your solution at all times should have been go buy an apple.
But mojito is the better option. Why are margaritas spicy?
In the comments, do you think apple or mojito is the better option? In Spotify or YouTube, leave in the comments, let us know.
Why are margaritas spicy?
It's the new trend that people like. They like a spicy margarita. I like a spicy margarita.
I like a spicy one. I'm not opposed, but I don't quite understand where the spicy margaritas come from.
I'm not sure where it's kicked off either, but I'm happy that it's kicked off.
Okay, fair enough. What are we talking about today, Gav?
I don't know. It's the answer. Welcome to the Meandering Movie Podcast. This is episode I don't know, because I don't know when this will come out. So we're going to try and not date it because I don't know what this is or what we're talking about. Let me give you some information of what it's like to do a podcast with Gary Copeland Boyd. I came in, I had an idea for an episode. We recorded the episode. It went very well. We then took a break. We're now back for the second episode to record. Gary said, and I quote, "Oh, don't worry, mate. Get the mic set up. I've got the idea for the second episode." Here we are in his idea. I have titled this in the file Gary's idea. What do you got?
Let me give you my side of the story.
Oh, God, there's no side of the story. That's the only side of the story.
All right.
What's your idea?
Well, no, because you didn't want me to do my side of the story.
All right, well, give us your side of the story.
I said, let's do a funny one. Gav was like, okay. And then I started talking about shit, and Gav was like, don't want to talk about this. I went, all right, what about one of these things? He was like, nah, I don't want to talk about that.
Like, give me,
and then I went,
what?
all right, what about one of the ones you gave me in the message? And then you went, nah, I don't want to talk about those either. Which left me in a very tight corner.
No. I specifically said we can go back to your original idea, which I assumed we were going back to, but now we're not in that original idea.
I told you I didn't want to do it anymore. I told you I wanted to do one of the ones off the list.
Well, let's go back to your original idea and do that one.
Nope,
What
don't
was
want.
the idea?
It was too much silly, poo-poo, nonsense, funny, Gary stuff.
Did it involve farts and poops?
No, not even.
Then let's talk about it.
It was one of the ones off the list.
A few moments later.
You're so impossible.
You're impossible.
You're impossible.
More moments later.
And now here we are.
With nothing.
It's nothing.
We have almost 25 minutes of cold opens and nothing. Oh.
Do you want to hear my idea?
Yes. Please give me your fucking idea.
After Spaceballs 2 comes out,
Yeah.
I know we've done a Legacy sequel
Yeah.
episode.
Which you can go back and listen to in season 3 of the podcast.
You can. After Spaceballs 2 come out, which other films that have absolutely zero reason or right to get a sequel do you think they should wheel out? Do you wheel out and give a sequel to? Now, this is on topic. Do you remember when Muhammad Ali was nearing the end of his tenure on this earth?
Yes.
And then they kept...
It's like they wheeled him out the
They kept
2012
wheeling him
Olympics
out,
and stuff.
And he was fucked.
No idea where he was.
No idea, shaking, old as hell. And there was a moment where I was like, oh man, just stop wheeling him out. Just let him be old and be old somewhere else. Because that's actually just upsetting. And just because he's a celebrity, he's got to, and yeah, Muhammad Ali, he's a fucking, he's an all-timer.
They did the same to Stan Lee. Did you see that?
They do it with all the fucking like faves. But
see that documentary where it was just like,
yeah, it was fucked.
He had people like controlling his life. It's like, keep going so we can get more money out of you, Stan.
So much like that.
That's what I'm going to do to you.
Spaceballs 2 for me. I seen that trailer the other day.
Good. I think it's a good teaser.
The trailer's funny. But dear fucking God, do we need a Spaceballs 2?
No. The answer is always going to be no. I think with the original Spaceballs, it hit just that sweet spot in that time when that genre of movie was perfect.
But the parody movie's dead.
I mean,
the parody movie is like a nil thing. Because it got cheaper and cheaper and cheaper.
As you say that, we literally have a remake of...
Naked
Gun coming out with Liam Neeson, because recently I rewatched the trilogy.
Again, another geriatric IP that doesn't need a sequel.
And yeah,
remake.
Having watched it, all three of them, I think they're all funny movies. The first one is obviously the best, but as it goes on, it gets a bit tired, and it gets to the point where you're like, oh, you don't. Like, especially the third one, Naked Gun 3 3/4, where that movie just turns into, look at the cameo we have, look at the celebrity we were able to reel in for this, and it stops being about, here's the funny joke we have. So if they couldn't do a trilogy then, what makes them think, we'll get Liam Neeson in and we can spurl up another one?
Yeah.
And that's the same with Spaceballs.
There's a bit of a weird discourse around online about Naked Gun, because a lot of people are like, oh, what's the point without Leslie Nielsen? And on this podcast, I find that we have a bad tendency to rail on things often. And I don't like it. I do want to enjoy things. But at the same time, I've watched both the trailers for Naked Gun now. And there's just nothing in there that makes me go,
I think the
yeah, that looks really good. I really can't wait for the Naked Gun reboot.
Yeah. But like, I've watched both the trailers, and the first trailer when they do the joke where they're like saying, oh, daddy, like I miss you, and they're looking
and
at
it's
pictures,
O.J. Simpson.
and it's the kid, and he's like, that joke, I thought, that's a good joke. Everything else I've seen, I was like, ooh, that doesn't look good.
Yeah. Anyway, without railing on films that are coming out, what's another older than...
What's a movie that should be left alone?
What's another older than old IP that should be left alone, but you think they're going to wheel out a sequel for?
Titanic.
I think did Titanic not get a sequel?
Yeah, it was that
terrible
that Studio Asylum, and they would just do like those weird snakes versus Nazis and movies like that.
Oh, really? They
did Titanic 2, but it was like the ship came back up and it was a ghost ship and all this type of stuff. Yeah.
Wait. I mean, I guess
maybe that's where we should pivot. Movies that won't get a sequel, but maybe should, like Titanic 2.
What a weird pivot as well. The Titanic's come back as a ghost.
I want Titanic 3, but it's Jack coming back for revenge against Rose.
That was... I know, I think I've definitely spoken about this on fucking Mike before, but the Jack Frost Michael Keaton film to Jack Frost 2, which...
What was the second one?
So... there is a...
Was there a second one?
Well, there is and there isn't.
Okay.
The Jack Frost 2...
Weird movie, that first one.
That first one's bizarre, right?
Weird movie.
Spirit of Michael Keaton comes back into a snowman.
And and they're like, this is a good movie. And then he's like, oh, every Christmas he gets brought back to life because he comes back as a snowman.
Does he? Oh, I thought he was one and done.
I assumed that he would come back.
Oh, I didn't. I thought
each Christmas they roll him up and he's there again.
No, I thought the whole point of that was it was the kid learning to say goodbye to his dead old dad.
I think it's funnier if every Christmas they roll him back. He's like, for fuck's sake, leave me be. Like, not again. And then it's this awful purgatory where he has to slowly melt again. He's just like, for fuck's sake.
Do you reckon it would hurt?
What, the melting?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's a great... Do snowmen feel?
If you're in a movie where magic exists and you get magic into an inanimate object, Beauty and the Beast.
Mm-hmm.
Lumiere Cogsworth.
For a second there, I was thinking the Beast is not an inanimate object, but I remembered.
Yeah. Lumiere So if I went into Beast Castle with a hammer and I was like, come here, you little clock, smash, 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 would he just be in pieces? Like, please, I can't die. This is terrifying. What the fuck's wrong with me? I want to die now. I've been smashed into a million bits. And I'm just like, ha ha. Or would I smash him and he would die? And would he then, second question, be like, ah!
Feeling it?
Would he feel it? Or would he just be like, this is bizarre. I can see you smashing me with a hammer.
I think logically he's not going to feel it because there's no nerve endings. But
Because he's a clock.
yes.
But then he has a face.
And he does react in ways where he has feelings.
The remake one where it's, I don't know who it is, but you know that clock in the remake one, which looks like, in the cartoon one, they've just got big old cartoon eyes.
Yeah.
I think I would feel worse smashing him with a hammer. But the remake one where it's like the face is built into the clock, everything looks a little bit...
Like Uncanny Valley.
It wasn't Uncanny Valley, it was like the clock... Like they tried to make the face into an actual clock face, didn't they? So the eyes was like the little two dials.
Are you saying you'd want to destroy that?
That one I would absolutely be like, I'm going to fuck
Like
this.
gleefully?
I'm going to fuck this clock up.
Do you know what I think would fuck up the clock more than anything is when the clocks go back. You know, that's just going to like, imagine like your whole brain being like flipped upside down because like the clocks have to go back or forward.
Have you seen the deleted scene in the live action Beauty and the Beast one where Stephen Merchant comes out and he's like, where have you been? And he was the toilet.
The bad news is for you, I've not seen the live action Beauty and the Beast.
That's terrible. Don't.
I don't watch any of these live action. haven't watched Snow White. I haven't watched Lady and the Tramp. I've not watched The Lion King 2, which is a prequel.
Mufasa.
That's a mad new level that we're at.
Pinocchio, Lady and the Tramp. There's so many of them. Well, yeah, there's a deleted scene in Beauty and the Beast, rightfully so deleted, where Stephen Merchant walks out of the castle with like a haggard look, like, and Josh Gad or someone, maybe it's Ewan McGregor, is like, wait a minute, I didn't even know you'd been turned into an inanimate object in the castle. And he's like, yeah, I was the toilet. And then it kind of just pauses and Stephen Merchant walks off. And that's the whole gag.
That's a dark gag.
Right?
Especially if the beast
Stephen
is
Merchant just taking gigantic beast dumps to the fucking mouth. Oh! Anyway, what was we talking about? Yeah, would you think
Spaceballs.
No, I need to know now. If you're an inanimate object in a magic movie, do you think the things in Beauty and the Beast would have felt pain?
No,
because Lumiere is also on fire.
And yeah,
they're his hands. Wait, what the fuck? He can put the fire on. Doesn't make any sense. There's so many questions. Is the fire part of Lumiere in Beauty and the Beast?
Yeah, like if he can produce the fire, then is that like a power that he has?
It's weird you get powers when you're an inanimate object.
Yeah, it's I mean, imagine that the clock could be a time machine, like turn back time. It's like that movie with the Guy Pearce, Time Machine, which then has like the weird blue monsters at the end. Didn't get that.
H.G. Wells' Time Machine.
Yeah, wasn't a fan of that movie. Didn't click for me. Where are we in this? Because we started with Spaceballs 2. Let me, just to help my brain lead back the path.
Yeah.
Spaceballs 2, movies that don't need a sequel.
Yeah.
And then
Jack Frost.
Jack Frost
2.
That
Jack
was
Frost
it.
2.
We're talking about Jack Frost 2.
So Jack Frost 2, there must have been a Jack Frost 1.
Oh, because would he feel it if he was a snowman and would die? Right. Okay.
There must have been a Jack Frost 1 that then brought me the Jack Frost 2 I'm about to talk about.
Yes.
I've never seen it.
Okay.
But Michael Keaton's Jack Frost, he comes back as a snowman.
Is it Michael Keaton again?
No. It's a bunch of teenagers go to a Hawaiian summer camp.
God, there was really a time in America where like the sequel was like, let's go to a tropical island.
Yep, tropical island summer camp. Then a snowman on this tropical island. I can't remember how the snowman gets to the tropical island because he doesn't melt, but he arrives. And then he brutally murders all of the teenagers. Because it's not Jack Frost 2 from the Michael Keaton film.
It's like the asylum people.
There was a Jack Frost horror movie where a snowman kills a bunch of people. And the sequel, classic Leprechaun in space, Leprechaun in the ghetto, Jason in space, whatever, was where's the dumbest place we can put this snowman that would be funny? And also
Tropical Island.
We'll just put it off as a tax write-off and we'll all get a bit of a holiday out of this. Tropical Island.
And we'll have a bunch of young people in like very little clothing run around in the woods.
Titties out and all sorts.
Yeah. Where was I? I had a thread with Jack Frost that I was going to lead off of, but I can't remember what it was now.
If in Honey, I Shrunk the Kids,
Yeah.
specifically, why my leg?
Have you got a cramp? How long have you had that question mark tattoo?
Forever. Longest, the entire time you've known me.
Have you actually?
Yeah.
It's the first time I've noticed it.
Like an exclamation mark on the other leg. In Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, specifically Honey, I Shrunk the Kids 3, Honey, I Blew Up the Kids. Honey, I Blew Up the Kid, because it's about the giant baby. If you used that to, let's say, blow up an apple,
Yeah. And then you would always have fresh breath.
you'd always have fresh breath, but then you ate that apple, right? So you've got an apple, let's say we blow it up to like 10 times the size of a regular apple, and then me and you eat the apple.
Yeah.
Because it's science that has made the apple bigger.
Does like the nutritional thing still work?
Well, yeah, because all the atoms within the apple would be big atoms. All the atoms would be 10 times bigger.
would you, like,
would that fuck you up if you ate that?
Would you overdose on its natural sugars?
Well, ignoring the nutritional side of it, do you not think, like, I can't imagine atoms in like 10 atoms that are 10 times bigger than my body's atoms interacting with my atoms can't be good.
I can imagine Star Trek's probably approached something like this at some point.
Because the reason this came up is me and Dave watched Onward last night, the Disney film.
Which one's Onward?
The wizards, the magic world, but it's set in like modern day electricity.
Oh, the
comes
Chris
in.
Pratt, Tom
Chris
Holland.
Pratt, Tom Holland one. So we watched that. And at
That was
one
a
point,
shit movie.
It's not shit. It's good.
Disagree.
Okay. We
That's
watched
that
that.
sorted.
Well, it's good. It's possible.
I would not say passable.
It's absolutely
I would say
possible.
Moana 2 is more passable than fucking...
You are so
Onward.
unbelievable. When did you watch Onward? Was it at the time in your life when you were a depressed, miserable coke addict?
It was the last movie.
Because if it
Just
was,
say that.
because if it was, let's be honest, you've got a bad track record of films that came out at that time that you were like terrible.
It's the
Then you went back and watched them. And
The
were like,
only
"Oh, that's quite
reason
nice."
I remember that movie is because it was the last movie I saw in the cinema before the world went into lockdown for COVID.
Right, yeah. So you are a miserable, horrible bastard.
We all were, though. The world was
no, but
ending.
you every film you watched for like a 3-year period back then.
It was not a 3-year.
It was so long. Every film, Gavin, you were like, terrible film. And I was like, Gavin, it wasn't a terrible film. You're like, utter shit. And I was like, hey, it definitely wasn't utter shit. Like, you're being harsh. And you were like, nah, utter crap hole. I'm never watching anything like that again.
There was lots of things I enjoyed during that time.
You were bad. You whimsy and joy. Anything that was even remotely, anything that could have remotely made you watch it and be like, oh, maybe I am being a horrible fuck. You just bounced off instantly. Anything that was trying to teach you a lesson, your soul was just like, I'm rubber, you're glue. Get the fuck out of my life.
And now that's why I'm excited for Spaceballs 2.
You should rewatch Onward. It's nice. It's definitely. It's better than Moana 2. If you like Moana 2, Onward is absolutely a better film than Moana 2.
But what I'm having more joy doing these days is going back and watching classic Disney instead.
100%.
Like Hunchback of Notre Dame. Go
Beautiful.
back to Mulan.
Beautiful.
Have to watch that. I need to check out Pocahontas again, see what it's up to. Because I've always been very negative about
You were singing
Pocahontas.
Savages earlier. Savages. Skin as white as moonlight.
Yeah.
It's kind of racist song, but it's
Yeah.
it's intentionally racist because
Yeah.
it's the white guys like skin as red as demons.
I also didn't realize, like with Hunchback, because of God knows how long
How
it's been.
rapey George Frollo is, Lord Judge Frollo.
Yeah.
Super rapey.
Like the whole reason.
Super rapey.
Because like we're watching, like me and my girlfriend were hung over on the couch and we're watching it, and when he's doing his like the best song of the movie, but it is the movie where he's like declaring either she will
Off the back of Quasimodo's, she is Starlight. I love her so much. Everything about her soul and her smile make my heart soar. And then Judge Frollo's like, if she won't have sex with me, I will damn her to the hells.
And not only-
Hellfire! Hellfire!
best song in the movie. It's
fucking incredible.
It's just the context of the song is grim. Because then
Her
we were
raven's hair.
We were sitting on the couch, and then my girlfriend was just like, "So is his whole like drive that if she won't fuck him, he's going to burn down all of Paris?" And I was like, "Pretty much."
Yeah.
And
Well,
then
so he hates the gypsies anyway.
Yeah.
He hates the gypsies anyway. But
he's
for a
just
brief
looking for that
moment,
reason.
he's like, you know what? I could probably get over my gypsy hate if Esmeralda
Will fuck, babe.
bones me. And then Esmeralda's like, why would I bone you, you old creepy fuck who has openly said you hate me as a from outside of anything, you just hate my people. And he's like, yeah, well, I'll fucking show you. He's the original incel.
He is the original incel that could have bred it all. I'm going to burn down Paris because this girl won't have sex with me.
I'm not a weirdo. I'll show you I'm not a weirdo by burning down Paris.
And then I'll get people to vote for Trump at one point.
There's another gag in Hunchback of Notre Dame that I fucking love. And it's such a stupid gag.
Say it, and then we need to circle back to something else in the Hunchback of Notre Dame that kind of annoys me. But yeah.
It's the horse. So Phoebus,
Yeah.
the Knight's Guard, has a horse. Do you remember the horse's name?
No.
The horse's name is Achilles.
Is it?
And at one point, Phoebus says, Achilles, sit. And it sits on two of the guards that are trying to kill Esmeralda or capture Esmeralda. And he goes like, good, Achilles. Achilles heel, and walks off. And the gag is Achilles heel. Some play on words of Achilles, the Greek hero.
Played by Brad Pitt and Troy.
But like, thanks. But like, it's not sat upon. It's not like the film goes like Achilles heel.
Wink.
Is that Kevin Kline as well?
Yeah.
Oh, we said this.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
said this in a previous episode.
Yeah, so the film doesn't sit on it. It doesn't like make a big point of it. But yeah, it just Achilles heel. That's why they named the horse Achilles. It's a weird, stupid gag. Love it. Don't know why, but I love that.
The thing about
What did you want to talk
The
about?
Hunchback of Notre Dame is the movie should be called Esmeralda and the Creepy Burn Down Paris Man. Because the Hunchback...
Lord Judge Frollo.
Judge Frollo. Because the Hunchback of Notre Dame feels so ancillary to so much of that movie. And, I mean, if Judge Frollo is the original incel...
You
then
take the piss out of my pronunciation of names all the time.
Yeah.
And you've just said Judge Frollo.
It's a tough one.
Frollo.
Judge...
Frollo.
Okay, so
Frollo.
Judge Rollo is the original incel, then the Hunchback is the original cuck.
No, Hunchback's a simp, right? He's a total simp.
He's a simp that becomes a cuck.
Yeah, he's the
Because there's the weirdest scene, and this is a mad thing to think about, because there's a lot of weirdness. There's literally a whole song about I will fuck me or I burn the world. Is the scene where the night guy's been injured and Esmeralda's there, and then the shot lingers on the Hunchback for so long as the two of them just kiss, and he just starts crying, and they're just like, yeah, let's just stay in this moment. They might as well have gotten him a little chair, sat him down, and had him watch them fuck. It's so, and then it's like the Hunchback of Notre Dame. It's just like, this is sad. Like this
because
is.
It is a weird message of like.
She also leads him on.
Yeah, like, oh, don't worry,
That's a joke, by the way. She doesn't.
No, she does. She absolutely does.
No, I don't feel
she's
she
like,
did-
hey,
no.
Quasimodo, you're the most beautiful, incredible soul I've ever met in my entire life. And he's like, don't judge me, Rosa.
Yeah, but she's just being nice to him.
I'd love to, I think you're beautiful and I want to be with you. And she's like, I would love to be with you. And I think you're a beautiful soul. And actually, you're
As
the
a
nicest
friend.
person. But come on. Demi Moore.
Oh yeah, it's Demi Moore.
Disney not giving a shit about skin color back then.
Oh, that's definitely. It's like when you watch. We talked about it in the past at some point about Milan, where it's just like some of them are Chinese, and there's the white people, and the white person is playing the lead of the Chinese army. It's like, cool, okay, right,
Nice.
fine.
Donny Osmond.
And again, he's got the best song in fucking Milan.
He does have the
Let's
best
make a
song.
man out of you.
Although I quite like the one on Mulan that's what we go to war for. A girl worth fighting for. Ba-ba-ba-ba. I don't care what she looks like. I only care what she cooks like.
Yeah.
Pork, chicken.
You would like
beef.
that one. Sexist. It is wild.
Sorry, Gav, wait. Sorry. There's a moment in I'll Make a Man Out of You where for the longest time I was listening to it with Hannah in the car and we'd have a little sing-along, a little Disney sing-along. And Eddie Murphy's character says, he goes like, I can't remember what Eddie Murphy, but Mushu says something. And in the song listing, I was like, it's really weird that they didn't get Eddie Murphy's line from the film. It's like maybe they didn't want to pay for the licensing after the Robin Williams shit with Aladdin.
Yeah.
And it's weird they've got like another person to say Eddie Murphy's line. And Hannah was like, what the fuck are you talking about? It's clearly Eddie Murphy. We've listened to it multiple times since. I stand by the fact it sounds like a bad Eddie Murphy impersonation, but he's listed on the song credits.
It could have been his brother. He used to get his brother in to do like voice work.
It must have been. It's bizarre. It's a really weird moment. Anyway, what were you going to say? Sorry. Just another funny little side.
It's just that thing of now going back to watch these old kind of Disney classics, and it's interesting to see the approach and the mindset of filmmakers to things where they felt or were trying to be quote unquote progressive with like, hey, we're going to tell different stories involving different people from different cultures. But they still just get it so wide afield, you know? Whereas like I appreciate the attempt. We look at Mulan, for example, and it's like, let's tell the story of like this war from a female perspective of trying to be a warrior. It's like, I like the attempt.
I think Mulan's like a Chinese tale. I think that's like an official piece of like Chinese mythology as
Disneyfied.
Well. But Disneyfied, yeah.
With like,
obviously.
and it's the same with like Hunchback of stuff of like, oh, let's have our quote unquote main character be someone with a disfigurement, but they actually won't be the main character, and we're going to focus on these pretty people, and he's going to get cuckified off to the side. And now we look at Disney as with its attempts to like be inclusive and progressive and stuff like that, and I'm interested if where it is now in 10 to 15 years when we look back at like Coco or movies like that, if we're going to be like, it's nice they tried, but wow, they were so off base. And you think like, is that going to be the case? Because like at the time when those movies would come out, like Mulan and stuff like that, people were like, oh, like look at this, like it's showing of people who don't usually get shown. And now we look at it and we're like, ugh.
Disney really went out. Yeah, no, I'm with you. Like Elio's out soon, and he's got a little eye patch because he got a little fucked eye.
What's Elio?
It's the new Pixar film where he gets abducted by aliens and they think he's the leader of Earth.
Wow, that's just completely past me.
Yeah, no,
didn't even know.
I think it's coming out soon. Sorry, all of this stems from. No, it doesn't. But at some point, what I wanted to say was in Onward.
Oh yeah, Onward.
In Onward, there's a moment where Chris Pratt's like, "Hey, Tom Holland, you can do magic. We've got 3 drops or a couple of drops of petrol left in this jerry can, but if you use a magic spell to gigantify the can."
Oh yeah, because you were talking about
Honey, I Trained the Kids. So in the film, it's like, if you gigantify the can, then we can use the 3 drops of petrol because then it'll be 7 liters of petrol. On paper makes sense.
yes.
But much like eating the giant apple would fuck up my guts, I think I would argue even maybe you'd get away with it because your stomach would just be like, break down the atoms, whatever. They're 10 times the size, who cares? I'm a stomach. My acid's strong.
I'm a stomach.
I 100% believe that if you poured a gigantified petrol into a regular engine, you would explode the fuck out of the engine. Because it would make let's say, I don't know the math. I'm not a scientist.
And trust me, we know you don't know the
math. If anybody's watching this who absolutely knows how combustion engines work in cars, and you can comment. But my limited understanding would be...
We both know someone who works in combustion engines.
Well, hopefully they comment.
Like, who was in combustion engines?
Well, that's what it is.
Just engines.
Yeah, but there's steam engines and there's combustion engines.
It's all the same.
One is it's not. My point being, in a combustion engine, it takes, let's say, an atom of petrol or like a molecule of petrol, and it explodes it, and then somehow that turns into make the car wheels go around. There's a lot of steps in there I don't understand. I know, but I get the core premise. Now, you take that molecule of petrol, which was a single, which has been gigantified to 10 times the size, then surely the explosion is just going to be 10 times the size.
Unless it gets diluted by being made that big.
What?
Because like you make it big, but maybe the atoms don't follow it, and it just becomes like diluted, and it's not as potent as when it was originally its smaller size.
When I said this to Dave last night, Dave just went, "It's a magic universe, fuckwit, shut up."
I mean, yeah, that's
which is fair.
That's the ultimate thing. Like when it comes to, would the clock have like feel things? At the end of the day, I feel like it's an animated Disney movie, so the clock will do whatever you need it to do because it's animated. But that's not fun.
Here's another question going into Notre Dame. Are the gargoyles actually alive?
I was thinking this because when we're watching it, my girlfriend was like, "So the gargoyle's real or inside his head?" And I was like, "Well, there is that moment where one of the gargoyles like comes alive to scare the little goat."
Yeah.
And the goat's like, "Oh fuck!" And it's the only time they reveal themselves to something that isn't
Quasimodo.
So
I think they also push something off at some point, but it's like both.
Yeah, like in the final battle, they're like. They build a whole, which is a great gag. They build a trebuchet, but then just push it off to crush people. And then they're like, "Did we do that right?" And then it springs over, and we're like, "Oh, it seems to have worked." That's one of the best gags.
It's a great gag. But yeah, it's other than those moments, it does kind of feel like you could get away with them just not existing.
But then it also feels like they set it up as this. Oh. Are they real or are they not? It's up to you. But then do things to be like, well, they have to be real because these things happened.
Yeah.
Like the whole ending battle.
Odd choices. Anyway, Hunchback of Notre Dame 2 is definitely... Do you reckon they'll ever do a live action? Who would they get to play Quasimodo for
I was thinking this. I was thinking this because obviously they're working on Hercules right now. They've done Aladdin, they've done blah, 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 etc., etc. If they were to do a Hunchback of Notre Dame, how the fuck would they even begin to approach that?
Hopefully if they see this podcast, they'll see you. And then they'll be like, that's our guy.
What, for the night?
No.
Oh.
No, Gavin.
It's an interesting question, which is if they were to do like a live action Notre Dame movie, how would they even approach it?
The question comes down to casting. Like, who the hell are they going to get to play Quasimodo? I reckon if they watch this podcast, they'll get you to be Quasimodo. Look at that. And then I'll be Lord Judge Frollo.
I was going to say you'd be the goat.
Oh, I hate the goat.
Why?
I would rather be all three gargoyles.
Can we also...
All three gargoyles. Here's my three gargoyle voices.
Okay.
Hey, Quasimodo, what are you going to do with all this stuff? And then the tall one is like Kelsey Grammer. Quasimodo, I think we have to get down into the streets of Paris. And then the final one is... This is my final gargoyle voice. Ah! Quasimodo, you're such a good boy. The last one's not my favorite.
The last one's not my favorite.
Wait, how's the last one sound? The last one goes...
He's like an old, like, crudgety man.
I think it's a woman as well.
Is it? I thought it was like a woman. I thought it was like an old man.
Quasi, you gotta... I can't do the last one. I can do two. The third one can be played by...
Chris Pratt.
No, I don't want Chris Pratt. I want me to do two gargoyles, and then I will get Wanda Sykes to do the final gargoyle.
Wanda Sykes?
Wanda Sykes.
Who's Wanda Sykes?
Wanda Sykes is in... Evan Almighty?
Nope, not ringing a bell.
She plays the skunk in Over the Hedge.
Definitely not ringing a bell.
You'll know Wanda Sykes.
Okay.
Trust me.
That's one last thing about Hunchback, because I've watched it so recently, it's all fresh in my brain. They didn't know what side comedy character they wanted. Because to have the goat...
The goat.
And then also the three gargoyles. But the goat feels so ancillary, where they were like, they started with that, and then they realised, well, they don't really have much for the goat.
Well, it's because they have two main characters. They have Esmeralda and Quasimodo.
Yeah.
So because of that, they needed two sidekicks, and then for some reason they gave Quasimodo three sidekicks, and then Esmeralda gets one sidekick. And then there's also the jester.
And there's the jester, but she never needed the sidekick.
I can't remember the jester's name. Yeah, she doesn't, but like she gets one. I think
every time the goat would appear, I was like, "Oh, yeah, there's a goat."
I think that's because we were just on the sunset of the Disney Renaissance,
and
that was Disney's like, oh, every character needs to have a side, like merchandising.
Yeah, when they've got like Mushu and stuff like that.
Mushu and the goat and Pegasus and the rug and the genie.
Who would you say is the least likable comedy side bit character in a movie?
This is gonna people aren't gonna be happy with this. Olaf.
See, I've never seen Frozen.
Also, the chicken in Moana. I hate the chicken in Moana. Hey, hate him.
I don't mind the chicken.
Put the chicken in the bin.
No, I think the issue with Moana 2,
and Moana 1.
I would say it's when they brought in the cast of side characters from Moana 2.
But we're talking about comedy sidekicks, like comic relief sidekicks.
Yeah.
If we're talking comic relief sidekicks, chicken in Moana adds nothing. Other than a few jokes where
a couple of like physical gags.
Maui's like, I'm going to eat that chicken.
Yeah, I guess like the chicken is...
I also hate that gag in Moana 1 and 2 where she's like, oh man, let's get off the island. I'm hungry for some pork. And then she looks at the pig and she's like, sorry, Pooah, the pig. And the pig's like, I'm a pig. And I'm like, obviously this is me as a vegan, but I'm like, what? I don't get the gag. I suppose I'm just like, what's the gag there? Like, oh, she wants to eat pork, except this one. I think it bugs me because it's the usual, like,
Is it also
everything's
because-
like, it's okay to eat animals. And I don't give a fuck. Eat animals if you want to eat animals. But at the very least, don't do the whole, like, it's okay to eat animals, but I wouldn't eat a pet. Just fucking eat the animal. If you're going to eat an animal, eat an animal.
Is it also because it's too specific, where it's just like, I'm hungry, I want to eat pork, and it's just like,
And then the pig goes,
get it? Because there's a
it
pig.
Anyway, sorry. Yeah, I would say
Is there a comedy side character in Onward?
Chris Pratt's.
I know,
So the
but
main
I'm-
character is Tom Holland and Chris Pratt's brother.
Oh, I
is
thought
like,
those two were like
they
dual.
kind of are. There's a dog dragon, which is kind of like not really. You could maybe swing it in, but it's also not really. I suppose the answer.
I suppose the chicken's a good answer.
I'm not a fan of the chicken in Moana at all. He knows
Now,
me.
who's the best? Ooh. And I ask you these questions because you're more...
I mean, it's well, actually I was going to say Mushu, but it's Robin Williams. Like it's
Aladdin.
absolutely Robin.
I guess that's
Aladdin,
like that
Genie.
set the standard for
Genie
everything.
is quite categorically because he's you know, the whole thing with Robin Williams in Aladdin was that he was like, I'll do Aladdin, but I don't want you to use the genie in, like, you know, I don't want it to be a what's the word?
Commodified?
No, that Robin Williams has this whole thing with the genie's voice in Aladdin, where he's like, if I do it, I don't want you to use the genie in more than like 75% of your marketing or something like that. I can't really remember why. I read
I
something
think
about
he
this a
didn't
while
want to
ago.
be the main attraction.
Yeah, and then the poster of
'Cause then it kinda
Aladdin
kills the whole
is like
point.
the genie completely eclipsing everything, which is why up until the last, I don't know, 5 years, you couldn't listen to the original Aladdin soundtrack. You could listen to all the songs other than the ones with the genie in them on Spotify because Robin Williams was like, nah, get fucked. I refuse to give you I'm not giving you my okay to use me because you've went against me in the original contract. Interesting.
That's mad. The thought, who can we get to fill the spot for the live action? Oh, we'll get the charisma vacuum. It's Will Smith.
I didn't mind Will Smith as the genie. Of all the things stepping into those shoes, I think Will Smith did an okay job.
I think it should have been Jim Carrey, but that's just...
I don't know. I think it needed to be different. If you got Jim Carrey, it would have felt like they were trying to do it too close to.
I guess it also then would have just become the Jim Carrey like genie show.
It's again, damned if they do, damned if they don't problem with live actions. Speaking of How to Train Your Dragon, I know we need to wrap this.
Oh, yeah.
But very briefly in a second, damned if they did, damned if they didn't. If they brought in Jim Carrey to be the genie, people would have been like, you've got another like man who's a prolific improviser trying to tread in the same shoes as Robin Williams. It feels a bit too close. Why didn't you do something different? So they went with Will Smith. He's not the big improviser, but he's a big musical. You're right, maybe not everyone's favorite, but at least it's like they were aiming for something different. And I personally think that's the better thing. Coming on to my next point, very briefly, the How to Train Your Dragon sequel is out now. Shot for shot remake. What is the fucking point? If you're making if you're making a live action version of a beloved children's movie,
Yeah.
I would much rather you take a few swings and maybe you miss. Maybe it doesn't like land the way you want it to, because you are fucked either way. You're fucked if you make it a shot for shot, because if you make it shot for shot, it's just a boring thing. Why does it exist?
Everyone can just be like, what's the point?
I can watch the original. People are loving this live action remake because I guess people did want a shot for shot remake. Personally, I don't get it. It's not for me. Nostalgia bait. I'd much rather you took a swing and did something wildly different, and then cool, we have something new. Yeah, that was kind of it. I just don't get it. I don't really understand why they've made a live action version of How to Train Your Dragon.
I guess the sad fact is it's like it's a safe bet where it can just be.
I think that was it.
It's like that first one did really well. There's a lot of love out there for it. It seems to be one of those kind of like franchises in the background that people really like, and because people have grown up with it, it just gets more and more kind of that energy behind it. And then they're like, fuck it, we'll just do a live action one, because we know there's those people out there who'll just be like, oh, I want to see the live action version. And then even if they don't like it, They've still went to see it and they put money in.
Doesn't
the
matter.
pocket.
You get the cash in. I see
But it
somebody
seems to be doing
online
very well.
Somebody on it's because people apparently really wanted a shot for shot.
I don't. Yeah, personally, I don't.
You're
get
with
it.
me, right? Like
I don't get it. Like when they announced it, I was like, "This is a scrape in the bottom of the."
See,
basket.
when they announced that, I was like, I get it. It's live action. People want a live action version. But since it's come out and people are like, this is exactly what I wanted. A shot-for-shot remake of the original film, unlike what Disney did with Lilo and Stitch, where they changed a bunch of shit. And I'm like, granted, especially with Disney's Lilo and Stitch, they changed a bunch of stuff for the worse. I disagree. You know what I mean? Again, they've tried it at the very least. But this one, they've played it so safe. And they've got the same director, and they've told the exact same story, and it's there. There are
They've
scenes
even
that
got
I've
some of the same voice actors.
some of the same. Well, Jared Butler's playing the exact same role he played in the original, and I'm like,
The thing,
but people apparently wanted it. People
ju-
just were desperate to watch it in live action, so they can dream about flying their own toothless in what looks like a slightly better version.
but I don't get it in terms of, and this is something we've talked about before, and we'll probably talk about again in a larger format, which is, I don't understand who these movies are for.
Yeah.
But there is clearly someone out there who wants them
Oh, a
because
lot of people.
they consistently do well. And I don't understand it because it's either here is the same movie again, but in maybe live action. I use finger quotes because sometimes it's The Lion King when it's just not live action. Or here is the movie, but we're going to change the stuff.
Yeah.
And you're going to be annoyed because it's changed.
Yep.
But you're also annoyed because we did the exact same movie. So it's like, what do you want? You don't know what you want, but you're going to watch it. And then they're just going to keep giving you more of it. And it's this awful cycle of just like...
The really weird element for me with How to Train Your Dragon is like, dragons don't exist.
What?
Dragons don't exist. So
I know someone who believes they do exist and did exist, and that's where they came from, is because they used to exist. I'll tell you off, Mike.
Dragons don't exist. So when you watch How to Train Your Dragon, you're watching these fantastical creatures do shit, and because it's a CGI, they can do stuff with the camera that you can't do in real life. And then you do a live action version, and now you've got, I don't even know who the fucking actor is that's playing Hiccup, but you've got him interacting with a fucking tennis ball on a stick. And then you've still got to CGI the dragon, but because you now need to make the dragon look like it can interact with Hiccup, the real life human being, rather than the stylized version of Hiccup in the original, I think you're just shaving off all the edges of what made the original look so good, because the original has a style, it's got a look, it's got like a vibe, and the new one just looks like, it looks like real people, and that dragon looks a little bit more realistic, I guess.
It somehow looks more empty.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the most...
Not for me.
The most difficult achievement when going live action is it has to make it look like Gerard Butler can act, and he just can. That's been another episode of the Meandering Movie Podcast.
Yeah, fuck you, Jared Butler.
You seem all right.
No, you don't.
I don't win.
I'll fight you.
He looks like a man who's drank a lot. His skin looks like no moisturising and lots of alcohol.
Remember when he was in P.S. I Love You?
Never seen it. Is that the Chandra Bullock one?
P.S. I Love You.
Is that the voice? You should do that voice for the third.
That's the third gargoyle.
You found it.
Quasimodo, I'm here to give you some life advice.
Why are you Irish?
P.S. I Love You. That's Irish.
But
Jared Butler's Irish in P.S. I Love
I
You.
hate that even more. Shut up, Gerard Butler, you're stupid. This has been the Meandering Movie
Irish?
Podcast. This has been another waffling, meandering, rambling nonsense. We might do more of these every so often, just so we can get the dumbness inside of our head out of it.
Is
If
he
you like
Irish?
this, make sure you're subscribed on YouTube. If you're on Spotify, give us a follow and a rating. If you're on Instagram, TikTok, check us out by typing in the Meandering Movie Podcast and following us. I almost... Yes,
He plays an Irishman. The Scottish Jared Butler plays an Irishman in P.S. I Love You. And he signs off all of his letters with P.S. I Love You.
I almost had that full thing out before you just had to go and cut right through it. That has been...
P.S. I Love You.
I have been Gerard Butler. Thank you for checking out this episode. We'll be back in 2 weeks with God knows what.
Did you know that my name is an anagram of Gerard Butler? He changed with the logo. Gary.
I just added other letters
Gary
as well.
Copeland Boyd. It's all there. Music is life.
The Meandering